Moving on to the heading of nationalization of banks, during the tenure of Prime Ministers Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru and Lal Bahadur Shastri, banking was a monopoly of the private sector. We had only private banks belonging to private individuals or businessmen who were running the banks. These banks represented different industrial groups. They had a monopoly, money coming from the industrial sector and getting invested in the banks, deposited in the banks. The directors of these banks were working towards developing industrial sector only, and they were only interested in increasing the profits. In order to stop this, the government nationalized the Imperial Bank in 1955 and it got renamed into the current State Bank of India. This bank opened several branches all over the country and in a short while played a major role in the development of India. Background of nationalization of banks. India had adopted a mixed economy. We all know at the beginning of the history textbook we have understood that after independence India accepted and adopted a mixed economy. Nationalization of banks was necessary to cover the deficits if they occurred while implementing different schemes. There had to be a bank which supported the government schemes. Also, the profits of these banks would come into the government treasury once they were nationalized. All the private banks which were earning profits, the government wanted the profits to come to government treasury. Along with this, the policy of developing small industries and pharmaceutical industries had to be implemented. Lal Bahadur Shastri undertook the experiment of the Green Revolution in order to overcome food shortages and drought, lack of water, scarcity of rains. During the tenure of Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, Congress Forum for Socialist Action, a group in the Congress party inspired by socialist ideas, made a demand for nationalization of commercial banks. Even the Communist Party supported this demand and hence the banks were nationalized. Imperial Bank was nationalized into State Bank of India. Then we come to 20-point program. Prime Minister Indira Gandhi announced the 20-point program on 1st July 1975. See, these are all the various schemes that India tried to implement to make India a developed country. This resolved to make efforts towards rapidly becoming a developed nation. The main provisions of the 20-point program are as follows. Now, Prime Minister Indira Gandhi had come up with this 20-point program. First, land ceiling for cities and agricultural land, equal division of wealth, minimum wages for workers, increase in water conservation schemes. Now, making changes in the land reforms, converting agriculture, preserving agricultural land and supporting the farmers, working towards equal distribution of wealth. The divide between the poor and the rich was keeping on increasing, so this was tried to be worked upon. Deciding upon a minimum wage of salary for workers, that the workers should get at least this much money for whatever work they do, and increase in water conservation schemes. Workers' participation in industry, national training scheme, freeing bonded labor. All the slavery and the contract laborship was removed. Prevention of tax evasion. Steps were taken so that the rich do not run away from paying the tax, do not hide their income. Stopping economic crimes and working towards eradicating smuggling, removing the evil of smuggling. Regulation of prices of basic necessities, not allowing the items in the basic necessity list becoming very costly. improvements in the public distribution system so that the people who are eligible to get all the ration, they do get it. Improvement in the textile industry by developing the handloom sector, supporting the rural handloom sector, waiving loans for weaker sections, poor people who had taken loans for starting their own handloom business or other business, if it has failed or if the crop has failed, if they are unable to repay, waiving of these loans, that is cancelling these loans, providing housing, communication facilities and educational equipment, making it available to the schools in the rural areas. These are only 5 points, but it was a 20-point program. We are being given the main important points out of this. That leads us to the issues of workers. The first textile mill, a mill where cloth is manufactured, was started in Mumbai on 11th July 1851. This was done by Kawasji Dawar. This is a Parsi name. He is a Parsi individual. Eventually, mills started in Dadar, Parad, Bhaikhala, Shivdi, Prabhadevi and Worli. This part came to be known as Girgaon or Town of Mills. In the 1980s, the increasing unrest, the increasing dissatisfaction among workers was due to the economic conditions in other sectors. Workers in other sectors were earning more than the people who were working in these mills. In some industries, the wages of the workers were increasing. They were also getting more amounts as bonus, which was not the case with the workers of the textile mill. They were getting more facilities than the textile mill workers. Hence, in the Diwali of 1981, the workers expected to get a bonus of 20%. The Rashtriya Mill Mazdoor Sangh, which was negotiating with the employees, agreed upon 8 to 17% bonus without taking the workers into confidence. Now the workers had a union. The union had a union leader. The leader talked to the owners of the mills and they agreed for a 8% to 17% bonus for the workers without talking to the workers. The cut in the bonus proved to be the cause of unrest, to be the cause of dissatisfaction. Some workers went to Dr. Datta Samant. They asked him to accept their leadership. The people who were not satisfied with the result, they made Dr. Datta Samant their leader. Workers of 65 mills came together and Dr. Datta Samant led the strike. He became the leader of these agitating mill workers. On 18th January 1982, 2.5 lakh workers went on a strike together at the same time. Girgaon mills stopped running, making it look like Mumbai's heart stopped throbbing. This was the main center of commercial activity. The Chief Minister of Maharashtra at that time, Barrister A.R. Antule, set up a committee, a group of ministers to solve this issue. Later, Baba Saheb Bhosle became the Chief Minister of Maharashtra state. He insisted that as per law, he would talk only with the Rashtriya Mill Mazdoor Sangh. This meant that Dr. Datta Samant and the people led by him were not given importance. Dr. Datta Samant demanded that the law be revoked, the law be scrapped, the law be removed, and they be given importance, they be given an opportunity to be heard, to keep their side in front of them. In the beginning, the striking workers received help from their native villages. Now the workers that are working in these mills in Mumbai, they have come from their native village. So the native villagers, they supported these workers in the beginning. It was also not very difficult for them to help each other. They set up departmental committees and distributed food grains, getting assistance in the form of funds, etc. The left parties had supported the strike. Left parties means the communist parties and the other parties. As the strike dragged on, efforts were made to split the striking workers' ranks. Now efforts were made to use the policy of divide and rule. Efforts were put in to divide the group of workers. Even as the strike completed 6 months, the central government completely ignored it. The workers started a jail bharo agitation, means they were telling the police, they were surrendering in front of the police, they were doing activities such that they were getting arrested and they were put into jail. In September 1982, 1.5 lakh workers took a march on the Legislative Assembly of Maharashtra state. The problem became bigger, but it didn't help at all. The strike completed a year. This was the first strike to have gone on for a year. All the workers who had joined the strike did not get any salary, any wage, any money. In this period, about 1.5 lakh workers became unemployed because since they were on strike, they were not going to work, they were removed from their positions. New people were given jobs in their place. As polyester had come into greater demand than cotton cloth, the sale of mill cloth had already got affected. All these mills were working with the cotton cloth. Since due to the research and advancements in technology, polyester cloth had greater demand, it was easy to use and wash and no need to iron too much. It was also better looking. It became the favorite of the general public. The sale of the cotton cloth reduced. The demand for the mill handlooms reduced. The mills moved from Mumbai to Surat in Gujarat. To avoid the agitation of the striking workers, the mills got shifted from Mumbai to Surat. The central government nationalized 13 textile mills. It took the mills from private players and made it a government entity. Appointment of arbitrators did not help to resolve the issue. The issue became very big, a serious one. But there was no solution to it. We will be continuing with the new economic policy in the next class. If anyone has any doubts, questions or issues, you can always get back to me. I want you all to go through this chapter until we meet next time. Probably we will be meeting tomorrow. Till that time, bye. Take care. Take care everyone.